So let's get into some funny facts. What is this picture? Where is it from? It's not from the tragic issue of the Syrians trying to migrate to Europe. Where is it from? Please guess. Why are these people packed, waiting for something? Any ideas? Okay, I'll help you right away. Oh, what did you say? No? Somebody else? What could it be? iPhone. Do you own an iPhone? No. You don't own an iPhone. You get a special prize for knowing that. How many of you own iPhones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I give you 2 Samsung devices, will you give me your iPhone?
No. No.
No? Yes? I think most said no. Is that correct to me? You say definitely no. There's not about that. How come? Isn't that bizarre that people are willing to wait in queues all night long in the cold to buy a device that they can receive, they can buy with their nice, precious money just a few days later without any effort? Isn't this very bizarre in a world where we have a tremendous proliferation of brands? Does anybody work for Colgate? No? Or for the brand that owns Colgate? No? Nobody? Okay. Then I can say, I have a very interesting question. How many toothpastes are produced by Colgate? How many different toothpastes are produced by Colgate only? Not AIM, not the rest of the brands. AIM. How many toothpastes they produce? 10. Anybody else? No? No idea? Colgate produces 24 different types of toothpaste. Do we need 24 types of toothpaste in our life from Colgate alone? Every Saturday I go to the supermarket. There is a certain alley on Vasilopoulos where I go. It's an entire alley full of toothpaste. What is the result? I don't care about whether it's Colgate or AIM or whatever else. Who cares about the toothpaste they buy? Anybody that is fanatic about the specific toothpaste? Please? No one? But still, there is one. AIM. You work for Unilever, don't you? You work for Unilever. That's fantastic. And still, there were 6 or 7 people that say, I would never change my Apple phone for a Samsung. So what's the difference? I don't care about my toothpaste. I care for my iPhone. What's the secret behind here? It is what we call the shift from cost marketing to making good marketing. It is what we call moving from what to why. What is this theory of Simon Sinek? I have all the references on the presentation. Please, it's really worth having a look. We talked a lot about cars today. How are cars advertised? In television. In a very simple way. When there is a car advertisement, you see a car, don't you? And you see a car, usually a car moves slowly through a city, which is empty. It's always empty. There's a reflection. Does anybody disagree? Have you seen any car advertisements in city with people? In traffic lights, honking the horn? Never. So the car slowly goes through the city, and there is a reflection in the buildings that are made out of glass, and as it goes, it turns left, and then it goes into a forest, and there is smoke coming up from the ground, and the car is lost in the horizon. Does that ring a bell? And then if you are lucky, so first of all you see what is sold in the specific advert. Then if you are lucky, how is discussed? You get information. This car is energy efficient, it consumes this much petrol, and it will go further, and it will last for 14 years. But you never hear about why. Why is this car produced? Why do we need 25 different brands of cars in the Greek market at the moment? Did you know that we have 25 different brands of cars in the Greek market at the moment? Yes, we do. And then, do you care about the car? Isn't it as if most of them look the same? And I'm not talking about a Ferrari or a Porsche that most of us will not buy. But what about all the rest? Don't they look the same?
You care. If you're a man, you care.
If you are a man, you care. Of course you do. But if you are not a man, or if you are not a man that cares, and actually you were the only one that spoke in the group, don't they look more or less the same, with the exception of Prius?
No.
They don't look the same. What is your car?
It's a Yaris.
It's a Toyota. Yes. Please keep that. We talked about Toyota a lot, and we will speak a bit more. That's a very good example. Toyota, I own a Yaris as well. I own a Yaris as well. Toyota was the one that came out with the hybrid technology in order to protect the environment. The same way Tesla, you know Tesla? Everybody knows Tesla? Tesla is a very fast-growing brand from Elon Musk, a crazy guy like this Stark guy from Iron Man. I don't know if you have seen him at all. Do you know what this guy does? He has a mission. He wants us to stop using fossil fuel. He produced Tesla so that we stop using fossil fuel. Believe it or not, that is his way. And how does he intend to make us stop using fossil fuel? What is his how? He wants to install stations, energy stations throughout America where you can get energy for your car without paying. And what is the way to do so? What is his what? By electric cars. But Tesla is not an electric car company. Did you know that? Tesla is currently developing the fastest train in the planet, going with 1,000 kilometers an hour. So Tesla is a Y company. All the big successful companies in the world are Y companies. What does Apple do? Is Apple a technology company? Is it a computer company? They don't produce computers, or actually they produce consumer computers. You have an Apple. Please keep your Apple handy because we will need it as an example. Apple is a Y company. They want us to think differently, to challenge the status quo. That's why Apple exists. Apple is not about computers, as you will see in the advert just in 1 minute. Apple is about making fantastic computers that make us feel good. Fantastic computers that we never let get dirty. Do you have your Apple there? Can I have a look at it? Yeah. Have you noticed that there are no dirty Apple devices? Crystal clear. Have you seen PCs? They are filthy. Why is it? Because we identify with the reason that Apple exists. Apple exists to make us challenge the status quo. Apple exists to help us think differently. How do we think differently? By buying earphones that are white, and they are not black, boring black. How do we think differently? By buying mobile phones that don't have all those lousy buttons that Motorola's and Nokia's did, and what was the result? No more Motorola's, no more Nokia's in the world. And they exist to make us think different with new watches that help us follow our heart rate or the stock market out of our hand. As in science fiction movies, they exist to produce cars. As an Apple fanatic, you know that next year, on 2017, they'll have their car out. Let's have a look at this advert. Please observe the Apple products in this 30-second advertisement.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
This is what Apple is about. When you own an Apple product, when you said, I'm not going to change my Apple device with a Samsung, it is because you want to challenge the status quo, because you want to think different, and you want people to know that by the product that you use. Do you disagree with that? Do you have an Apple? You have an Apple device, don't you? Would you change your Apple device with a Samsung?
It depends.
It depends. Well, the last model.
Please, honestly, I wouldn't like to show to people that are different. It's the way it helped me to do things that I like this device. I don't have the latest iPhone, so it's very valuable.
Yeah, that's the
It's about, exactly, that's the correct answer.
This is what I don't, I dislike about iPhone, is that it became a status symbol. it became someone who has the latest iPhone, and then he can show them to the world that he has $1,000 to pay for a phone, and that he has the latest model. So
forget all about that. But as you said, you have a device that makes things much more efficiently, without buttons, in a beautiful way. That's why you have an iPhone. That's the key issue. Okay, let's carry on because time is flying. Are we okay? Is anybody sleeping yet? No? Nobody? I carry on. We don't have that much time to finish. Just give me a bit of time. We have some interesting information to carry on with. Some fast examples. We have a lot of NGOs, so I'm grateful about that, to speak about the Κέντρο Αγάπης Ελευσίνας. Do you know this NGO? How many of you know the Κέντρο Αγάπης Ελευσίνας? I proudly work for Κέντρο Αγάπης Ελευσίνας for 15 years. My wife knows Κέντρο Αγάπης Ελευσίνας. Anybody else?
I have heard of
2, 3. You are a sponsor of Κέντρο Αγάπης Ελευσίνας, so I don't know if that works. This is a 50-year-old NGO helping 200 children every day and their families. It was founded by Papa Pirounakis. He was a rebel of his time that did so much for charity in the country, and still you don't know him. And it's not your fault at all. It's because this NGO, despite the fantastic job that it does, for years and years it was shy. It wouldn't come out with a clear message. And then there is το χαμόγελο του παιδιού. Who doesn't know το χαμόγελο του παιδιού? Anybody that does not know το χαμόγελο του παιδιού? Why is that? You don't know do you live in the States or something? You are? From Berlin. From Berlin, you are from Berlin. He doesn't know to come. Not yet. He doesn't know Mr. Yiannopoulos. Not yet. Just wait a couple of years. That is fantastic. He is from Berlin. I didn't anticipate that. So, το χαμόγελο του παιδιού. What is the message of το χαμόγελο του παιδιού? It's about a father with a child that on its dying bed wanted every child to be able to laugh in its life. Can you resist such a message? Can you resist helping this NGO? I cannot. And that's why this NGO is so successful, and it deserves this success. This is the power of starting with why you do what you do. What you do is completely irrelevant. So I carry on. One key issue to discuss. What is your name? Nikos. Nikos, do you do decision making in your life using facts and figures, thinking things straight and making your decisions?
I'm trying to, not all the time.
Not all the time, but you are trying to most of the times. Do you believe in the zodiac circle?
Not really.
Do you knock on wood? Knock on wood?
Yes.
You do knock on wood. How many of you believe in the zodiac circle? Nobody believes?
Astrology.
Yeah, the wrong group. Astrology. Do you believe in astrology? 1, my wife again, 2. Anybody else? 3, come on. It's 4, 5, 6. We just follow it. But how? But we read it. We don't believe it, but we read it just in case. Just in case. Please come back to me. Why does this happen? Because decision making doesn't happen on the neocortex. The neocortex is our external brain. It is our most current brain. The neocortex is the part of our brain which is capable of language. It's good in coming up with questions, but is completely incapable of giving answers. Where is most of our decision making done? In our limbic brain. In Greek, maybe you have heard it as the amygdala. Amygdala in English. That is the center of our brain, formed 2 million years ago, which is completely incapable of processing language, but extremely strong in analyzing data. Data from our senses, but not only. It's our gut feeling when we say, something in my stomach tells me to do this instead of that. And all the data say I should do that, but still I'll do this. Has this ever happened to you?
Yes.
This is what we call intuition. I know that I should be doing that, but I choose to do this. This is actually our limbic brain. The ideal combination is doing the thinking with our limbic brain with the assistance of the neocortex. And all these people waiting in line for their iPhones may look stupid, but they are not necessarily. This guy looks funny. But as our colleague said, he bought a fantastic device that will retain its market value when it's sold 6 months, 1 year, 2 years ago, And it's in nice colors, it's not boring as all the Samsung devices. Look at this television, it's horrible. I was pressing to get the volume down, and did you hear a bling, 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 bling? Who the hell thought about putting a bling, bling, bling during my presentation? It was the Samsung device. An Apple device would never do that, because it thinks differently. And it all starts in the center of our brain. So please trust your gut feeling. And what's the connection between gut feeling and cause marketing? Any ideas? It's the fact that people know if your campaign is fake. People know if you do it for the wrong reasons. They know it in their stomach. All these campaigns that came out in the last few years, to my understanding, most of them were not that honest. And people would tell, with the exception of some great examples from Coca-Cola, from Apple, from Ote Cosmote that does fantastic campaigns for our society at the moment. But many of the rest, something was wrong about them. Something in our gut feeling was telling us not to trust them. That's why we are talking about this.